Okay, we should start now because it's already 11. So we will start on time because I do not want to shortchange any of you as well. So today we are going to identify some of the vocabulary words which we can use that are related to the topic. So I think this one is mainly targeted at compo. Okay, vocabulary words. Specifically, I think in terms of vocabulary and using a wide range of vocabulary, I think this one is referring to these two genres, okay, narrative as well as descriptive. Not so much for expository writing. Okay, so the genres we are focusing on will be these two for today. Okay, like I shared last lesson, I think the exam format for O levels, you will be asked to choose one topic out of 4. So you definitely have choices. You're spoiled for choices, in fact, I think. Okay, so whichever you're confident in, a lot of students would not choose descriptive if they are not, if they do not have a wide range of vocabulary. Okay, so in this case, I think it depends on you. But then again, as a teacher, as a class, I think we'll go through all genres and also we'll target at how to tackle all these genres just to prepare you in case if let's say maybe your first choice is expository, but the topic came out to be something that you're not familiar with at all and you think you can't handle that topic, then maybe you might want to choose other genres as well. Okay, so that's the learning objective today. Like I said, there are so many components in the English language paper that we cannot complete everything on a single day or a single lesson. So we'll focus on this today. We'll also look at how to employ the 5 senses. Okay, so basically 5 senses, we're referring to, of course, your sight, your smell, your hearing, your taste, and your touch, right? So basically to employ 5 senses because you want a vivid imagination for your reader. Okay, so then the reader will be able to, you know, go beyond, it goes beyond just physical description. Okay, it will create a vivid mental image in the reader's mind. And also, of course, is to appeal to your 5 senses as well. Okay, so we'll touch on that a little bit later. And also we will be covering, definitely these 2 parts will fall under compo. And of course, we are going to have our usual current affairs again. I think last lesson, I have already told you the reason for why we want to cover current affairs, because it's definitely going to help you in many aspects, right? Your oral, for once, you will have to be able to have content to talk about, right? For the conversation-based oral part. Of course, reading aloud, you don't really need to know so much about current affairs, but definitely for the conversation with your examiner, that one you have to have some current affairs in mind. Yeah. And also, I think it's good to know more about current affairs because it does help you in terms of writing as well, especially if you're writing expository, right? You do need to have some solid facts and also maybe some statistics to show your argument, okay, to help you support your argument. And also another thing that might help for current affairs is that in terms of comprehension, I think the last one, non-narrative text, is going to be a lot about, some of them, they might get the text from current affairs also, like newspaper articles and such. So it'll be good if you are really just reading a lot, okay? So this is what we're going to cover today. So we will just move on to composition first, right? So I think some of you might have guessed it. We are going to cover descriptive essay today because of, like, you know, appealing to your 5 senses, a wide range of vocabulary, right? So a descriptive essay is just one of the genres, right? So descriptive essay, basically it describes or tells us. I would think let's not use the word tell, okay? In fact, okay, let us show. Okay, instead, let us not just tell, but we show. Basically, we want a vivid mental, okay, we want to create a vivid mental image. in the reader's mind. Okay, like for example, she was scared. Okay, instead of telling she was scared, why not you say that the situation sent shivers down her spine? Okay, or she trembled in fear. She was shaking like a leaf. Okay, so in this case, it really helps to sort of like create a vivid mental image in the reader's mind, yeah, that the writer has experienced. So the topic may include different things. It can be to describe an object, right? What is your favorite object? Okay, your favorite place, for example, where is your to-go place after school, right? So your favorite place, your favorite person, who is your favorite teacher, for example, okay, or your favorite or something that had happened. So it can be an event as well, right? So descriptive essays show, right? Like I said, try not to use the word tell. Let us focus on using instead of just telling, let's just show and not tell, right? So let us try to achieve showing instead of just telling. Showing your readers what the writer has experienced, we can use illustrative language. Basically, illustrative language are like your the five senses, right? It appeals to the five senses, like for example, imagery. Okay, later on I'll give you some examples. And now, of course, another type of language you can use is figurative language. You might have learned this in literature, right? By figurative language, we mean examples like metaphors, similes, personification. Okay, so I have here some examples, like for example, metaphors. Love is a rose. Okay, is love literally a rose? No, but I think the nature of love is being compared to the fragrance as well as the beauty of a rose, right? So this one is a metaphor, right? A metaphor is like an implied comparison between two seemingly different objects, but we are pointing out the similarities between these two objects. So why is love like rose? Okay, so that's metaphor. And of course, we have like simile, right? Like the afternoon sky to the blue honey of the Mediterranean, okay, makes the sky more inviting and calm. So like, or as something as, right? She was as shy as a rabbit, okay, for example. Yeah. Okay, so then of course, lastly, we will also want, we will also want to use precise language. Okay, so what do I mean by precise writing? Precise writing, there are a few ways to achieve that. So in this case, we have like number one. Oh, let me just change it to a pen. We want to avoid wordiness. We want to be precise. We don't want to be too repetitive. Okay, not I see it, or I saw. So that's very wordy. You can actually change the word saw or see to something else. Yeah. So for example, like we said we'll meet together. Actually, meeting and meeting together is the same meaning. So why not just be concise and cut it short? So instead of meet together, we can just say we meet. Okay. I told him we'll meet at 7 o'clock, right? We'll meet together at 7 o'clock. Then that's a redundant word already. Yeah. Sometimes we can also omit unnecessary prepositions. Like for example, return back to the house. So instead of return back, we can just cancel the word back and just return to the house. That's all, right? And also sometimes there are wordy phrases like at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. 2 p.m. is in the afternoon. I think it's quite understood, right? So you can just omit in the afternoon and just say at 2 p.m. That's all. Yeah. So that's basically avoiding wordiness. Now, second thing that you can focus on is to use concrete words. Oops, sorry. Okay, to use concrete words. So what do we mean by using concrete words? Okay, as much as I say you avoid wordiness, doesn't mean everything you just cut short. Okay, sometimes it's good to write more, but writing more must have a purpose. Yeah, you want to be concrete in your descriptions. You want to use precise words. Again, it boils down to using precise words. You want to use precise words to create a vivid picture, right? So in this case, like for example, Sam ate slowly, full stop. So it's really short. I'm not being wordy here, but if you're writing a descriptive essay, then maybe you want to be a bit more concrete in your descriptions. So rather you can say, Sam took an hour to finish his meal, picking at his food and gnawing it in his mouth like a hamster. Okay, so that creates a vivid image in your mind. Oh, so how did he eat slowly? He was actually like gnawing the food like a hamster, and also picking at his food, like, he's being picky. This one he doesn't want to eat, and then this one he wants to eat. So what he likes, he'll eat first, right? Okay, so that's using concrete words for precise language. And then of course, the next one is to pay attention to diction, number 3. Okay, so basically to pay attention to diction means, in short, is choice of words. Your choice of words are really important, okay? Right? Because the diction may be formal or informal. So depending on the context when you're writing, okay? For example, if it is formal language, it's formal diction, it usually uses more specialized words, okay? Such as like in specific fields, and also they seldom use contractions. Contractions meaning, like for example, he is a contraction. So if you write it in formal diction, it should be he is. Okay, of course, informal diction can be used in dialogues. I'm sure you are quite familiar with writing dialogues as well, especially for narratives, right? For formal diction, we will never use colloquialism like your Singlish. We avoid using colloquialism like do you want la, lolly, all those, right? And then of course you've like, do you wanna, right? And why are you so emo? Right? So all these terms are like colloquialism. For informal diction, some might be accepted, but I still do not recommend you to use words like wanna, gonna, emo, LOL, all this kind of thing. Okay, but you can say he was deadbeat. Yeah, so deadbeat means really tired. Okay, so for example, if we want to use like to suit the purpose of our writing, formal diction may be more appropriate, I would think. So try to write it in formal diction, right? So like things like, for example, school rules. Some school rules are questionable and ought to be demolished. So that will be a formal diction. Then if you want to write it informal, it might not be so appropriate. Okay, some people might write, some school rules are just crazy and ought to be thrown away. Okay, so that will be a bit more informal. So you have to see what is your purpose and whether or not it fits the context as well. Okay, and lastly, number 4, you will have to try to use words with appropriate connotations. Okay, so by appropriate connotations basically means that whether or not is positive or negative, because positive and negative connotation can give different impressions altogether. Okay, so for example, like the old woman plodded along the pavement, her heart burdened by the news. Okay, so that will be like negative connotation. Then positive connotation, the old woman sauntered. Sauntered means with light feet, right? So sauntered along the pavement, her heart enthused by the news. So it basically gives you, or it implies different meaning altogether. One is very positive and one is very negative. One probably she has heard of a bad news, and the other one is probably a good news as well. It's probably